the biggest difference between mixers is definitely their taste. Now, this should give you some comfort. How they hear is a big component for what their taste is. Because, as I explained in the video where I was testing out different monitors, if you hear something that hurts you, you must make a change. Because your taste at the end of this is driving the mix. And why would I sit here listening to something for a couple hours, few hours, 6 hours, however long it takes to mix, while I'm in pain? I'm not going to let that happen. So I'm going to make changes. Now, no matter who's mixing your song, the top guys often realize this, that someone's taste is really what's going to make the difference between whether they mix a song in a way that might benefit the song in the producer's eyes, which is an opinion, benefit the song in the artist's eyes, which is an opinion. But that's a big reason why guys like Rick Rubin will do mix shootouts. You know, when you're at the top level like that, he can afford to pay 6, 8 mixers to mix the same songs, or at least one of them, and decide who's got the best handle on the project for what they're going for. Now, unless he's paying guys to do each song, a multitude of guys, and picking between that, which isn't often the case. A lot of times he'll do a mix shootout, and then whoever he picks will be the mixer for the album, or at least half the album, or a bunch of songs that sound a certain way. I've heard several stories about, how different mixers got the jobs on those things. And usually they want a mix shootout between a bunch of other guys, but they didn't always get the whole album as the project. So just sort of adding that to the conversation. But what I could tell you is, when you can afford to pay multiple mixers and pick the one that hears the song most like you hear the song, or at least understands your vision the most, that all just comes down to taste. Because when you're on a certain level of mixer, like a Chad Blake or an Andy Wallace or a Brendan O'Brien or an Andrew Sheps, I mean, we could go on and on. When you're on a certain level, you are aware of the tricks, the tools, the tips, anything that comes into play to make something sound different than you want it to. You're aware of how to get it there. And a lot of times this comes down to a wide, vast palette of creativity. Because the more creative you are, the more you can come up with ways to do something that others might not have thought of. But if they have, they might still do it in a completely different way because they have different tastes. They hear differently. They want different things out of what they're doing. So even if everybody knew all the same things, the end result's never going to be the same. And that's that human variable. That's a very interesting variable, because on any given day, the way someone feels could make them want different things from a song and from a mix. So they may do different things. Now, when you add all this up, you have to realize that so much of what goes well and works and winds up being selected or picked or takes you from where you are to working with people you would prefer to work with, so much of this is completely out of your control. All you can do is do your best and deliver your opinion of what it is. And that's the best way to describe what a mix is. It's your opinion. CLA said that. He's like, a mix is an opinion. That's what it is. This is my opinion on what it should be. And as we all know, everyone has an opinion. So everyone would create a slightly different mix, no matter what. Even if some people share an opinion, I agree with that opinion. It's still not going to be the exact same when you break down all the details that go into a mix. So it just got to let you realize that because there's no right, wrong, or indifferent. Just keep working. When you look at someone like Serban, the work he put in to get to the point that he is able to deliver such a high quality of mix consistently, it's no doubt about his ability to a certain degree that was innate and there, but that's like a small part of it compared to the work he put in. You can't diminish the work that someone like that put in the past to be able to be as good as they are today. Now, the work you put in is keep trying to make what you're doing better and better every time you finish a mix. So you got to finish a ton of mixes, keep going, keep working, keep being, not totally satisfied with your work. That's a good thing. Be like, I could make this a little better if this. This was, I'm happy about the way it sounds, but except for this one thing, like there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is don't let that hang you up. Don't let it stop you from calling something done. You must finish so that then you can get the most out of reflecting on what you've done. If you never finish, you never get to that point. So I think this is, and also I want to add another thing. Some producers always use the same mixer. Like there's some guys who believe that, Serban is the best mixer the world has ever seen and has the most of the biggest palette from the past to the future. So he's worth the, 10 plus thousand a song or whatever he charges to mix. He's worth that because of what he brings to the table. But what I'm saying is that didn't happen by accident. And the guys that think that, there's a certain kind of producer that might want that always because they're eliminating variables. In other words, they know if they deliver a certain quality, all they got to do is give it to him, and then they can count on him doing something to it that they can realize if it's not great when he's done, it's something they can fix or they should work on, or it's like they're eliminating variables to a certain degree. Whereas, so that might make it easier for them to diagnose a problem or something they don't like or want to work on or whatever, right? But there's guys like Rick Rubin who don't work like that, and there's other producers who don't work like that. So no matter how high up on the ladder you go, everyone feels differently about this. A guy like Rick Rubin looks at it way more, I don't know what the right word is, like atmospherically or spiritually, where he will look at it like, on what given day we give something to somebody, what are they capable of? And is it in the stars for them to give us something that's going to make this a win, make it a home run? Is it in the stars for them? Do they have inside of them something that really aligns with what this is to make it as good as possible? And he's searching for the person who's going to give him that, which is why he'll test different mixers on different songs. So when I heard that, I love hearing this, because for anyone like me or you who's, looking to get clientele that's on an even higher level, who's looking to get more and more people to work with who really value what we do, but also kind of just, there's no other way to describe it other than get further down the line than we are at the moment. If you're looking for that, then you want a guy like Rick to give you a shot. So hearing that he does is great, whereas hearing that a guy who always uses Serban all the time doesn't feel so uplifting. I can completely hear you on that. But what I'm also saying is, there's no real way to get yourself in a position like Serban is in now, other than doing more work on such a consistent basis, more work every day than you may be doing now because you think what you're doing is enough. The truth is, a guy like Serban probably didn't sleep most nights because he had to finish stuff, and he put that impetus on himself to finish stuff. He's driving himself. He's pushing himself. And that's the thing. You have to do what you have to do depending on what you want to achieve. Now, a lot of people will tell you, just you can't decide what's going to happen. Just let things happen. Not the way I think. Not the way I think at all. I think you must go out and find what you think you deserve and try to get it with all your heart and might, with every minute of every day, without wasting a second. Don't wait around waiting to be ready. Don't think that if you fail now, it's all over for you. Don't think you're going to embarrass yourself. Don't care what anybody says who comes at you with any kind of cynicism or negative nonsense. Literally just brush it away, keep it moving, and do more. That's it. Just do more. So for anyone out there who is extremely driven to keep doing, you're on the right path. I'm not trying to tell you that if you're doing everything you could possibly do, that you need to do more. What I'm here to tell you is keep doing that. Just keep doing that and realize you may get your shot at some point where your mix gets picked for something. And a lot of this stuff that happens with music is the same kind of thing that happened, in the film industry for so many years, in the movie making world. Joe Pesci had to do something for later Martin Scorsese to see something he did and say, this guy would be perfect in this movie. Samuel L. Jackson had to lose out on parts like Reservoir Dogs he didn't get. And Quentin remembered him and then later saw something else he did and thought he'd be perfect for one of his movies. Now he's his go-to guy. The point is, you must do things to be able to be in the ring, to get selected for things to do. You have to do things. You can't just always wait to be ready. Never going to be ready. You just go, you keep it moving, and you will uncover the path one step at a time. Never be afraid of your failures. I wrote this on one of the last videos. I put it in a caption, but I had to just hammer it home. It's so important. It's so important. There's nothing more important than what I'm about to say. Every time you fail, it's a battle scar. Every time. And eventually, you have these scars and these proofs. The fact that you did work your butt off to get somewhere. That's the truth. No one goes around looking for all Serban's worst mixes he's ever done. But I bet you they're out there. And I bet you people would listen and be like, oh, what is this? I can't believe it's the same guy. But nobody goes looking for that stuff. All you do is you see where he's at now and you think, oh, it must be so impossible to get there. It's not impossible. If you are determined and work your butt off, that's what's up. I don't think there's enough positive motivation out there for people like us to really ignore the voices in our heads. So many creative people let those voices beat them down and hold them down and keep them in a place that, they might have not even put themselves in. A lot of times other people put you in this place where you think you're not capable or you're not good enough, because those are the words you heard. That's what seeped into your psyche. It's up to you to get rid of it, to beat those voices down. That's up to you. You do it through hard work. You do it through not caring about any time you fail. It's a battle scar. It's proof of everything you've done to get where you will eventually wind up if you keep going and don't quit. Leave a comment, like, subscribe. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. You guys got this. Take it easy.